Good morning. I would like to call the April 18th, 2024 board meeting to order. The time is 9:07. We will start our meeting if you will please stand to pledge to the American flag and the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So the Texas flag, the Texas Pledge of Allegiance. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Thank you. I will start the meeting this morning with the board's mission statement and philosophy. The mission statement. The mission of the Texas Board of Nursing is to protect and promote the welfare of the people of Texas by ensuring that each person holding a license as a nurse in the state of Texas is competent to practice safely. The board fulfills its mission through the regulation of the practice of nursing and the approval of nursing education programs. This mission, derived from the Nursing Practice Act, supersedes the interest of any individual, the nursing profession, or any special interest group. Our philosophy: acting in accordance with the highest standards of ethics, accountability, efficiency, effectiveness, and openness, the Texas Board of Nursing approaches its mission with a deep sense of purpose and responsibility, and affirms that the regulation of nursing is a public and private trust. The board assumes a proactive leadership role in regulating nursing practice and nursing education. The board serves as a catalyst for developing partnerships and promoting collaboration in addressing regulatory issues. The public and nursing community alike can be assured of a balanced and responsible approach to regulation. So this morning, I would like to welcome all our board members, board staff, and audience this morning to the board meeting. This meeting is being held pursuant to the Texas Government Code Section 551.127. Please remember to mute or turn off your cell phones. Today's meeting is being held in person at the George Herbert Walker Bush Building, located at 1801 Congress Avenue, room 4.300, Austin, Texas, and is open for anyone of the public to attend and observe. So this is our first time to be in this room in the new building. So we may move forward and hopefully not have technical difficulties, but you know, it's a new facility. So welcome, and we'll begin the board member roll call. Dr. Benton.
Kathy Boswell, representing AD in Education.
Kathy Boswell, present.
Daryl Chambers, representing Consumers. Mr. Chambers is absent. Laura Disk, representing RN Practice.
Laura Disk, present.
Carol Hawkins Garcia, representing RN Practice.
Carol Hawkins Garcia, present.
Maisie Jamison, representing Consumers.
Maisie Jamison, present.
Ken Johnson, representing LVN Education.
Ken Johnson, present.
Kathy Lederhorn, representing LVN Practice.
Kathy Lederhorn, present.
Allison Porter Edwards, representing BSN Education. Dr. Edwards is absent. Drew Riddle, representing APRN Practice. Dr. Riddle is absent. Melissa Scott, representing LVN Practice.
Melissa Scott, present.
Kathy Ship, representing APRN Practice.
Kathy Ship, present.
Rick Williams, representing Consumers. Mr. Williams is absent. And Kim Wright, representing LVN Practice, and Ms. Wright is absent.
So we have a quorum. Thank you. I know that Rick Williams is having traffic issues and will be arriving shortly. I just wanted to say that our Vice President, Allison Edwards, Dr. Edwards, is absent due to speaking nationally at the Developmental Disability Nursing Association annual conference and sharing her research that has to do with disability education in pre-licensure programs. And Dr. Riddle, our CRNA, new advanced practitioner, practice person on our board is the current president of the American Association of Nurse Anesthetists, and this is his last meeting to be the president of in charge of that meeting, and so they are doing some national work for our state, and we appreciate that. And Kim Wright is an LVN that will be going off of our board. They're currently, the governor is going to reappoint another LVN into her position, and she served well over a year in that position when she didn't have to, and we certainly appreciate what she's done for us. So we do have some absent members today, but we do have a quorum, so we can move on. So we'll now proceed with the introduction of board members and staff. Laura?
Good morning. I'm Laura Disk. I'm a registered nurse representing RN Practice. I am from Pharr, Texas, and currently serving as the Chief Executive Officer at Rio Grande Regional Hospital.
Good morning. I'm Kathy Lederhorn. I represent LVN Practice. I practice in Fort Worth for USMD.
Good morning. I'm Ken Johnson. I represent LVN Education, and I am faculty at Howard College, San Angelo.
Good morning. I'm Carol Hawkins Garcia. I'm from San Antonio, Texas. I represent RN Practice. I'm a clinical educator at Acute Care Hospital.
I'm Kathy Boswell. I represent ADN Education, and I'm the Dean of the Health and Human Sciences at Weatherford College.
Hi, I am Melissa Scott, and I live in Granbury, Texas, and I work in Fort Worth, and I work at Cook Children's Medical Center.
My name is Maisie Jameson. I represent consumers. I'm from Dallas, Texas.
Okay, Kathy Shipp. I live in Lubbock. I am advanced practice family nurse practitioner. I do women's health, and so I'm past faculty at West Texas A&M University for 10 years. I just retired from that in the family nurse practitioner program.
I'm Kristen Benton, Executive Director, Board Staff.
John Vanderford, Deputy General Counsel.
It's on.
Jan Hooper, Education Consultant.
Beverly Skloss, Education Consultant.
Lisa Donnelly, Education Consultant.
My name is Dusty Johnston. Good morning. General Counsel with the board.
All right. Hemant Macon, Director of Operations.
Good morning. My name is Anthony Diggs, Director of Enforcement.
Good morning. I'm Elise McDermott, Director of Nursing.
Good morning. Tim Sherman, Nursing Consultant for Advanced Practice.
Good morning. Christine Riley, Nursing Consultant for Practice.
Daryl Holt with IT.
Usually we don't have the staff, the audience introduce themselves. I'm sorry, when it just started going down the row, I didn't know what to do.
Thank you very much. I thought it was very nice.
Yes.
We have two left. We might as well let
So you two ladies here at the front might as well tell us who you are. They will all be friends.
Victoria Craig, Chamberlain University, Pearland University.
Okay.
Good morning, Tamara Williams, Chamberlain University, Houston.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Patricia.
And, Patricia.
Patricia and Bruce and all our people. Come on.
Patricia Vianis, career executive assistant.
Bruce Holter, information specialist, nursing.
Avi Gimire, IT manager.
Brian Evans, admin monitor.
Okay. we're just kind of figuring out this room and this setup because it is a little different, and we usually, all of our IT people are usually like out here in the middle with us and all. And Daryl, did you?
He did.
Okay, all right. So I don't want anyone to be left out. Huh? And we always are glad to have our troopers here, DPS, for our safety. So thank you. Okay. So let's get started with reviewing the agenda. Are there any changes, corrections, amendments to the full agenda? Okay, no changes. Ms. Dis, can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Can I get a motion to approve the agenda for the April 18th and 19th Texas Board of Nursing meeting?
Yes, and so I need a second.
This is
Kathy
Maisie
Boswell,
Jamison, I
second.
second.
Okay,
Either one.
okay. Kathy Boswell. All right, having a motion and a second to approve the agenda. If there's no objection from board members, the agenda is approved. This vote is being taken according to Board Policy 2.7, which is Simplified Parliamentary Policy, Rule 4. So board members, let's review the minutes for January 24 to 25, 2024 board meeting. This is our last board meeting. Ms. Dis, can I get a motion to approve those minutes?
Yes, I move to approve the minutes of the January 25th, 26th Texas Board of Nursing meeting.
Okay, I think it was the 24th and 25th.
That's right.
Yeah, so she's, okay.
Yes.
All right. And so, could I have a second?
This is Maisie Jamison, I second.
Okay, great. Thank you. So having a motion and a second to approve the minutes, if no objection from board members, the minutes are approved. This vote is being taken according to Board Policy 2.7, Simplified Parliamentary Policy, Rule 4. So let's move on to the consent agenda. Board members, are there any items on the consent agenda only that anyone would like to have pulled off the consent agenda? This is for consent agenda only. So,
I would like to be recused.
okay. So there's nothing about anything being pulled off at this time. And so, Ms. Boswell, you're going to recuse yourself from the agenda item 3.2.8F, which is consideration of change in approval status from full approval with warning to full approval, Weatherford College in Weatherford, vocational nursing education program. You are faculty there.
Yes.
And dean of that
Yes.
program, of the
Yes.
health sciences. Okay. And we have 8.6.1, consideration of proposal for decision recommendations, proposed settlement agreements, if any, and board action in the matter of permanent certificate number 900865 issued to Haley Davis, SOA docket number 507-23-24065, and that will be Carol Hawkins Garcia and Maisie Jamison, who have had some dealings with that case, and so they will recuse from that. Ms. Jamison and Ms. Garcia? Okay. And are there other items on consent agenda only that anyone needs to recuse themselves from? This is consent agenda only. Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of agenda items 3.2.8.f and 8.6.1? Laura, do you want to?
I move to approve the consent agenda with the exception of agenda items 3.2.8F, consideration of change in approval status from full approval with warning to full approval Weatherford College and Weatherford Vocational Nursing Education Program. And 8.6.1, consideration of proposal for decision, recommendations, proposed settlement agreements, if any, and board action in the matter of permanent certificate number 900865 issued to Haley Davis, SOA docket number 507-23-24065.
Thank you. And is there a second?
This is Ken Johnson. I second.
Thank you. Having a motion and a second, we'll now take a vote. And members, please make sure that you say your name and how you are voting. And then also you'll go into board docs and do your voting. Kathy Boswell, yes.
Kathy Boswell, yes.
Okay. Laura Disk,
Laura Dis, 4.
Carol Hawkins Garcia,
Carol Hawkins Garcia, 4.
Maisie Jameson,
Maisie Jameson, 4.
Ken Johnson,
Ken Johnson, 4.
Kathy Lederhorn,
Kathy Lederhorn, 4.
Melissa Scott,
Melissa Scott, 4.
myself, Kathy Ship, 4. And the motion passes. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see that Mr. Williams is here. So how do you vote?
4.
Okay, thank you. And do you want to introduce yourself for us?
Good morning. Apologies for lateness, traffic. I am Rick Williams. I represent consumers. I'm from Killeen, Texas.
Rick, we're glad you made it safe. So motion does carry. We'll now take a vote on consent agenda item 3.2.8.f. Can I get a motion to approve agenda item 3.2.8f, noting the following board member recused from the vote on this item due to conflict of interest? Kathy Boswell. Okay, could I have a motion?
This is Kathy Lederhorn. I make a motion to approve agenda item 3.2.8F with consideration of the Weatherford College and Weatherford Vocational Nursing Education Program.
Thank you. And is there a second?
This is Melissa Scott. I second.
Thank you. So having a motion and a second, we'll now take a vote. Laura Disk,
Laura Dis, 4.
Carol Hawkins Garcia,
Carol Hawkins Garcia, 4.
Maisie Jameson,
Maisie Jameson, 4.
Ken Johnson,
Ken Johnson, 4.
Kathy Lederhorn,
Kathy Lederhorn, 4.
Melissa Scott,
Melissa Scott, 4.
Kathy Ship, myself, 4, and Rick Williams.
Rick Williams, 4.
And let the record reflect that Kathy Boswell recused herself and the motion carries. Thank you. We'll now take a vote on consent agenda item 8.6.1. Can I get a motion to approve agenda item 8.6.1, noting the following board members recused from the vote on this item because they were on the E&D committee that voted to temporarily suspend the nursing license involved in this PFD? And that would be Carol Hawkins Garcia and Maisie Jameson. So I need that motion.
This is Kathy Lederhorn. I move all of the proposed findings of fact and conclusions of law in the PFD and impose an enforced suspension against the respondent's license as set out in the attached board order.
Thank you. And is there a second on that motion?
Melissa Scott, I second.
Thank you. So having a motion and a second, we'll now take a vote. Kathy Boswell,
Kathy Boswell, 4.
gotta get my computer up. Okay. Okay. Laura Disk,
Laura Dis, 4.
Carol Hawkins Garcia is recused. Maisie Jameson is recused. Ken Johnson,
Ken Johnson, 4.
Kathy Lederhorn,
Kathy Lederhorn, 4.
Melissa Scott,
Melissa Scott, 4.
Kathy Ship, myself, 4, and Rick Williams.
Rick Williams, 4.
And the motion carries. Thank you. One of the things that I want to do before we move on to the rest of the agenda is just tell the audience that there are many, many records, many reports that are on this consent agenda that we look at before we come in, but they're not discussed. And so even if the schools aren't here, I want to consider the change in approval status from initial approval to full approval, because that's huge for Chamberlain College of Nursing in San Antonio, baccalaureate degree nursing education program. I also want to recognize ECPI University in San Antonio, associate degree nursing education program that went from initial approval to full approval. And then Texas Lutheran University in Seguin, direct entry to MSN, initial approval to full approval. So those are very, very big deals. Schools work very hard to meet the requirements. I also want to talk about a change in approval status, full approval with warning to full approval. So that showed these schools were in the warning status due to board scores and have rebounded. So that's a really big deal. And so that is Concord Career College in Grand Prairie, vocational nursing education program, Dallas College at El Centro in Dallas, vocational nursing education program, Ranger College in Early, associate degree nursing education program, and Southwest University in El Paso, associate degree nursing education program, Texas A&M University in Corpus Christi, baccalaureate degree nursing education program, and Weatherford College in Weatherford vocational nursing education program. So these are a really great opportunity for what they've done and to showcase the work that they had. So we also have a school initial approval with warning to full approval, and that's Howard Payne University in Brownwood, baccalaureate degree nursing education program. So I think they're not here, but I think we should clap for them. Appreciate the work of the staff. You can see that many schools that have had to write self-studies, have visits, and have worked really hard to bring their schools up to compliance at that 80% pass rate. So thank you for the time allowed to acknowledge them. Okay, and so at this time, we will move on to 1.1 on the agenda, which is the Executive Director's Report. Dr. Benton?
Thank you, Madam President. Good morning, everyone. We're really delighted to be in this new room. I'm sure we'll learn some quirks as we go throughout the day. One that I'm aware of is that the microphones are extremely sensitive, and the streaming is even more sensitive to sound. So there's that. But welcome. My report is on our website for everyone to have access to, so I will not read it to you. I'll just hit a few highlights. There's an update on the compact, the nurse licensure compact. It is, as it was in January, we're at 39 states and 2 territories, and there is pending legislation in some of the other states that don't yet have the compact enabled in their statutes. So we'll keep posted on that. Let's see. In March, some of our board members and board staff had the opportunity to attend the NCSBN mid-year meeting in Atlanta. And the first day, we'll talk about it a little later in the meeting, but the first day was really focused on a theme of NCSBN that is emerging, which is reimagining discipline. And there was a lot of focus on nurse wellness and how important that is to the workforce. And the day was sort of emceed by a psychologist who focuses on working with healthcare professionals and wellness. And through the day, there was a panel where the highlight was to showcase some of the evidence-based practices that boards employ to ensure that nurses are fit to practice and have the supports they need when they may have a condition that would require support. And our very own Danielle Green, our Assistant Director of Enforcement, participated in that panel and was able to demonstrate how our agency utilizes these evaluations. And that was really showcased as a good practice that all boards should adopt. So we're really delighted to have had her participate. I also want to highlight that one of the publications NCSBN puts out, it's called Leader to Leader. In the next edition, Christine Riley, one of our practice consultants, who's right here at the dais, will have an article published, and it will be, she's become our resident AI expert. The article topic will be nursing education and large language models. So we look forward to that, and we'll be sure and share that. Yay. NCSBN has a program called the International Center for Regulatory Scholarship, known as ICRS, and it offers a full menu of courses that are free to board staff and board members, and really charge a nominal charge for anyone to register. And they're high quality courses. They're hybrid courses, but don't require travel. And they're going to launch a few new courses that I just want to highlight. Recently, they just launched one on APRN regulation. And coming in the fall, they will launch one that really is aimed at helping orient new investigators, called Introduction to Disciplinary Investigations. And then they'll also be launching a course that will probably be a great option for some of the remedial education courses that some of our orders require, which the name of that is professional decision making. So all of those courses are available through the NCSBN website. There are courses on administrative law, there are courses on policy, courses on writing for publication, statistics. It just goes on and on. So I highly encourage everyone to look at those. The next generation NCLEX update, I'll just say that the pass rates in Texas and nationally continue to be really good. Of course, the first quarter when the new test format was launched was in April, and we really saw some high rates. But as the statisticians predicted, those have leveled off slightly, but they're still much above pre-COVID and during COVID. And we'll have a report on Texas pass rates later in this meeting. Okay. Every year, there's a Gallup poll on the most trusted professions, and once again, nurses have hit the top. The only year that they did not was, during 2001, where firefighters post 9/11 were ranked at the top. And then to some state news, the Texas Center for Nursing Workforce Studies has published a number of reports recently looking at all facets of nursing education in Texas, from enrollment, admissions, completion, faculty vacancies, faculty shortage, program characteristics, and they are all available on their website. They're excellent resources. And they've also published an update to their original supply and demand projection report, and that's available there also. Our April bulletin is posted on our website. We're fully digital now, saving trees, hopefully. And we have a number of articles of interest, including one on a new education guideline that Education and Practice collaborated on to look at utilizing more long-term care in nursing education for clinical experiences. see. I do want to mention that after the January meeting, the director for the Nurse Licensure Compact and one of their legal counsels came and provided a 2-day workshop for staff on the compact to give the nuts and bolts of how the compact works and the various reports that we have access to make sure that we're in compliance with the compact. And we very, very much appreciate them traveling to us. I believe around 40 staff were able to attend that training. All right, now the really fun part, staff updates. We do have some new staff, but first I want to recognize Abi Gamire. I know he's in the closet back there. Or he may have gone back to the office. Anyway, but I do want to recognize him nonetheless. Abi just recently completed and graduated from a program called Elite, which is a very intense leadership development program specific to IT leaderships and leadership. And we've already seen the skills that he's obtained through this training and are so proud of him, because while he's doing that and off-site, he's also at the helm of the ship here for everything IT. So a big round of applause. I'm sure he'll pop in later, and if you see him, just give him a pat on the back. Hard work. Okay, we do have some new staff who are here in the audience that I want to introduce that we're really thrilled that they're here with us. First, in our legal team, we have Kristen Schoen. Kristen, if you'll just wave. She began work as an attorney on February 24th, 2024. She earned her Juris Doctor in Law degree from Case Western University and her Bachelor of Science in Nursing degree from University of Pennsylvania. She had previously worked as an attorney in private firms in Austin and as a registered nurse in the neonatal intensive care unit. So glad to have you, Kristen. Yay. Let's see, I don't see Aaron here. Okay, Alyssa Kim. Alyssa, hi. Alyssa began work as a legal assistant March 15th, and she graduated from Texas State University with a degree in public administration and sociology, and previously worked as a litigation assistant in a private firm in Austin. Welcome, Alyssa. And then we have Caroline Livingston. Hi, Caroline. Caroline began work as a law clerk on April 1st. She is a third-year law student at UT Austin and will graduate next month. And she completed her undergraduate in political science at Arizona State University and previously interned for the Colorado Department of Law and as a law clerk at the UT System General Counsel. We're glad to have you. And then we have some staff in operations who are new. I'm trying to scan the audience to see who's here. I don't think Abel is here. Is Abel here? Okay. Well, Giselle Gonzalez, who is probably a familiar face to some of us. We've won her back. We're very happy to have her back. She returned to the Board of Nursing as a management analyst on March 15th, and she previously worked as an accountant over at HHSC. And prior to that, she was at the board for 14 years in various roles, including customer service, enforcement, licensing, and financial services and accounting. She has earned a certificate in management and operation from Austin Community College and an associate in business administration, a bachelor's in business administration, in finance from Texas State, and a master of an MBA from Angelo State University. In addition to her 14 years of knowledge, she has a background in management specialties, leadership, business analytics, and data science, and Lean Six Sigma Green Belt certification. Glad to have you back, Giselle. And then I have one more introduction who we introduced at our last meeting, but I don't think he was here, and I see him here in the audience. So as soon as I can get logged into my computer. Okay. Josue Hernandez, he's here. He was hired as an investigator on November 7th, and he's previously worked as a senior internal auditor and investigator for Smart Financial in Orlando, Florida. He earned his Bachelor of Science degree in criminal justice from the University of Central Florida. Welcome, Josue. And I'm just going to check in with our HR director to make sure I didn't miss anybody. Okay. You got it. Okay, thank you. All right. So the rest of the report, you'll see an itemization of all the meetings that the directors and the consultants have attended since the last quarter. So we're definitely a busy team. And then beyond that, you'll have some of the statistics that you see, some of the enforcement statistics that are in this report every quarter, and then also jurisprudence exam statistics, and a look at the action our website gets. How many hits we get, how many visits we get, what pages are visited. And that really helps us kind of just gauge, where we maybe need to make improvements to the website, or add more information to certain pages that we know are being visited more frequently. So that ends my report. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions, board members? Thank you, Dr. Benton. It's been busy since January. Thank you. At this time, we'll move to 1.3, which is update on the strategic plan for the fiscal years 2025 through 2029.
Yes, ma'am. Right. Madam Chair, members, good morning. Hemant Macon, Director of Operations. Just to give you a short update on our strategic plan for fiscal years 25 through 29. Again, a brief review. It's a 5-year planning document that is updated every 2 years. So we, in actuality, get about 2.5 years to realize its manifestations before we go back to the table, update it, and move on for another 2 to 5 year period. Some key dates for you for our strategic plan. We noted last time that it is due on June the 1st. The process officially kicked off on February the 20th. We have met 2 key deadlines before our main submission deadline, and that is on March the 22nd. Our budget structure updates were submitted to the Legislative Budget Board, to the LBB. In doing that, it forces us to begin essentially the budgeting, the LAR process, which will begin in the summer. So we get a head start on that, but we have turned in our input to the LBB. They are in communication with us to begin conversations to update our budget component for the 89th session, which begins next year. A big kudos to Abi, our IT manager, and his IT team for completing the IRDR, which is the Information Resources Deployment Review. It's a subcomponent of the strategic plan that is spearheaded by the Department of Information Resources. That is a pretty in-depth, exhaustive review that is done of all IT functions, and DIR in the state sets the framework in which agencies should set up their IT shop. So we gave that a pretty good dive, and that was turned into the state on March the 29th. The customer service survey, Bruce Holter has posted that on our website, our social media, and in the newsletter. That went out on April the 3rd. The state sets forth the questions that are asked in that survey. The survey will be live until the end of Saturday on the 20th. And then its findings will be compiled in a report within the strategic plan. Almost done here. The draft of the plan will be going to our two liaisons, Laura and Ken, and the chair on May the 17th. And so you will get a first look at that, and then we will evaluate those responses from our liaisons on behalf of the board, and then move forward to our official submission on June the 1st. One last point. Again, strategic planning it begins essentially the budgeting process. So we're nearing that part of the year where budgeting will officially begin. So at the July meeting, we will give you an update on the LAR and the budget items that we will be requesting for the next session. All right, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
I just have to say, Hemet took over in October.
September, yes.
September. He's been very busy. He has this spreadsheet that's like this, it's like past legal size, little bitty print. Color coded, and he's on it. I mean, you can see where he's been, where he's going to go, and what the finished product. So a very good job, besides just learning our agency, and just jumped right into that. So
Thank you so much.
thank you. Okay, we just have a few more minutes. Tim, could you give us 3.1.1, promoting continuing competency report?
Good morning, board members. So Board Report 3.1.1 is known as the Promoting Competency Report. It provides information on available educational offerings provided by the Board of Nursing and statistics associated with registration from the previous 5 fiscal years. There are 2 attachments with the report. Attachment A contains statistical information on registration for each course, and Attachment B lists all courses currently offered on the board's online course catalog and the dates for the board's workshop, our Nursing Jurisprudence Ethics workshop for this next calendar year. Board staff will often refer stakeholders to courses we offer that may meet their needs when we talk to them about various questions and inquiries they have. I will say that our next workshop is June 20th. It's in person. It's going to be at our neighboring building, the Barbara Jordan state office building just across the way. So this report is typically given verbal at once a year. It follows the annual meeting board staff have, referred to as the Annual Needs Assessment and Planning Meeting, where the attendees form the Assessment and Planning Committee and brainstorm ideas for goals for the next calendar year relevant to the C&E offerings the board has, and communicate about their conversations and topics with stakeholders about what their needs are. So at this meeting, board staff seeks to identify relevant goals and perhaps prepare other related resources that may offer C&E that could address some of the concerns that we've identified over the last year. Some of our major goals are to continue to update our workshop, which is always happening, and June will be different than any workshop we've had before. It's always a goal to make it better. Update our APR and scope and prescriptive authority courses, because we have some new resources that can bolster those courses, make them more informative, and perhaps address some of the needs of students that seem to be really interested in taking them. We're also going to look into developing new courses on scope for LVN and RN practice. This report is for informational purposes only. No action is required. If anyone has questions about it, I'm happy to answer.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry, I think it was a little hard to hear. We're trying to see if we can adjust and help that. I don't know, can you guys hear me? Is that okay? So our staff works really hard, and I've attended some of these myself, and they are really good. And then Tim and their group has even shared some slides if I have been asked to give a talk on updates about the board, and they have really great presentations. So anyone that gets a chance to do that, and our board members can do those as well. And, through your learning account here for the nurses. And I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And for all the work. There's a lot that goes on, and I like the idea that there could be things that students could maybe be able to attend as well. Okay. I think we're just a couple of minutes before. No, I guess my clock's fast. We still have a little bit of time. So we'll, I try to keep us on track and make sure that we stay on our schedule. Okay, at this time, we're going to move to 5.2.3. It's a verbal report. Please.
Madam President and board members, this is an update about our charge that originally came to our task force to plan a summit for 2024. So we are planning, it actually is going to occur on Monday and Tuesday of next week. It's a 1.5 day long summit. We are bringing together, the audience is over 150 registrants of nursing educators, nurses in current practice, and individuals from the workforce. And the structure of the summit is going to be that we will have presenters present, then some panels to have some panel discussion, and then all of the participants are going to break up into World Cafe style, in which they will have different tables with different table topics, different questions to help come up with solutions for the state of Texas related to any nursing education issues, practice issues, and workforce issues. They'll go through several rounds of the round table discussion to help create those solutions. And we have some DMP students who are taking on a project of collecting all of that data. And then eventually there will be a publication about all of the solutions. We're very excited about all of our presenters and our panels. Our presenters are going to present on things like the outcomes of healthcare with Nurse Tim. A panel is going to talk about the practice academic partnerships and their effect on readiness. Then we'll have a speaker that will speak. He's coming to us actually from Canada. He is an expert in AI, in nursing education and nursing practice. So he'll be speaking. And then we're going to have a panel that will talk about innovative healthcare delivery. And then the following day, we will have Pam Lauer from over at the Texas Center for Nursing Workforce Studies. She's going to talk about the state of nursing. And then we'll have somebody talk about the healthy work environment, the foundation for practice excellence. And then we'll have a panel that'll talk about the workplace environment. So we're very excited. We will report next time on how that went.
Madam President, I just want to recognize Elise for leading this huge event. It has absorbed her completely for the past several months. And I also want to really recognize Sierra Williamson, who has handled the logistics without any frustration. She's totally graceful about everything. And you can just imagine trying to make sure that you plan 25 tables of five to six people for these World Cafe discussions, making sure that you have a diverse representation at each conversation round is a little complicated, and she has masterminded it. So we really appreciate everyone's input. The whole education and practice team have helped to develop the questions and the task force, and also our partners for this summit, the Texas Organization for Nursing Leadership and the Texas Nurses Association. So should be a great event. We're looking forward to it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I know it's going to be great, and we had this before, so this is a follow-up, and I think it's just really great. And also, we have assignments before coming and looking at the data from National Council on and their strategic plan as well. So it's really a good overview and makes a difference for practice. So thank you. We just have a great staff. So thank you. So also, while we're on 5.2.1, Advanced Practice Nursing Advisory Committee, we have no report. And 5.2.2, Nursing Practice Advisory Committee, we have no report when you're looking at your agenda. And so at this time, we will do our 10 o'clock, and that is 3.2.12.A, South Plains College in Levelland, Associate Degree Nursing Education Program. And Lisa is our staff, and Dr. Hooper. And if you will just make your way here, our staff from South Plains College. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm from Lubbock. We're in the same West Texas blow-in here. So
Bring the dirt to the humidity.
yes. And really it's kind of New Mexico blows over us and comes this way. So glad you're here. Thank you.
Interesting, only one mic. Thank you.
I guess we just have one mic. We're new at this.
That's right. That's
Okay.
one mic, and it has to be passed between everyone. to
Okay.
be heard.
Okay. I don't know, is Dr. Hooper starting, or are you, Lisa?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Do you have to swear them in?
I'm sorry.
No, you don't have to do that anymore. Okay. Okay, sorry. Well, good morning, board members.
Can you put that to your...
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Is that better? Good morning. I want to tell you a little bit about South Plains College. It's a public community college that was established in 1957. The ADN program at South Plains College began offering classes in 1985. South Plains College is accredited by the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools Commission on Colleges and holds a certificate of authorization from the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board to grant degrees. Dr. Tara Strawn, with over 20 years of teaching experience at South Plains, was appointed to the director position and approved in May of 2022 after an emergent situation at the school occurred. So much of the school's history precedes her tenure as the director. Due to the change in status from full to full with warning in 2023, an in-person survey was completed in October of 2023, and the program implemented many corrective measures. In February of 2024, due to the NCLEX pass rate of 79.05%, the director was notified that the program's approval status would most likely change from full approval with warning to a conditional. And the implications of the change were explained. You have a copy of the program's response to the board report. Dr. Tara Strawn, Director of Nursing Programs, and Dr. Jerry Finley, Dean of Health Sciences, are here to present information and address your questions.
Good morning. Can you hear me? My name is Jerry Finley, and I'm the Dean of Health Sciences at South Plains College. I want to thank you for taking the time to allow us to present our extenuating circumstances regarding the ADN program here at South Plains College and not meeting the threshold that's required in BON Rule 215. Dr. Strawn began as Director of Nursing Program on an interim basis in May of 22 and was appointed Permanent Director in October of 22. The former dean, director of nursing, retired in December of 2018, which led to the appointment of an interim director from January 2019 through June of 2019. During that time, a search committee was formed and a permanent director was selected in June of 2019, and the interim director subsequently retired. We had a cascading series of events that led us to where we are today. The new director was appointed in June of 2019 that had minimal teaching experience and barely met the BON requirements for director. The choice was in part due to a lack of qualified applicants and the requirement to fill the position. Unfortunately, the director did not uphold the standards of the BON or the college, and in the end was a detriment to the department that led us to where we are today. Her last effective date in the position was May the 2nd of 2022. The COVID pandemic of 2020, as you well know, placed a great burden on colleges nationwide, and we were no exception. Faculty members in place had no distance learning experience and were forced to teach online in a very short amount of time. As a small rural community college that only taught in-person classes, we were forced to shift to an environment that, quite honestly, was not conducive to our normal teaching methodologies. We feel that in part was what contributed to our 64.29% pass rate for 2021 and 50.65% pass rate in 2022. Dr. Strawn came in and made drastic changes to the program that she's going to address shortly, but fast forward to where we are today. We identified the need for 6 students to pass that NCLEX in December of 2023 in order to reach the 80% threshold required by the board. Both myself and upper administration were very aware of the need to certify grades in a timely manner so the AOGs could be certified and submitted as soon as possible. We as a college and program strive, as the board recommends, that students schedule and take their test as soon as they receive their approval to test. We had 11 students that attempted, again as the board recommends, to test in December of 2023 and could not find a testing site in December within a 500-mile radius of our campus. We had 11 students that attempted. We understand the board looks at calendar year. The NCLEX examination year was 79.05% for 2023. However, I want to put into context the improvement that Dr. Strawn and the program have made since she came in. Our May 2023 cohort graduated 49 students, with 46 of those students passing on the first attempt for a 93.87% pass rate. The December 2023 cohort graduated 45 students. All 45 students passed on the first try for a 100% pass rate. This is a testament to what Dr. Strawn has done in an extremely short amount of time, and the policies, the procedures, the things she has put into place to get this program back to where we need to be. Our 100% pass rate was the first 100% pass rate at South Plains College since 2012. So that was something that we were very proud of as an administration, that she was able to do that. But back to those 11 students that attempted to test in December of 2023 that were eager. They already had jobs. They were just ready to get that graduate nurse off and that RN on. But they couldn't find a testing site. One student drove to Oklahoma City, 600-mile round trip, because our testing center did not have the seats available that Dr. Strawn will address shortly. As you can see, there have been many challenges in regards to the ADN program. With the addition of Dr. Strawn in May of 22, you can see how quickly our pass rate has increased. Our pass rate of the last 2 cohorts have been above 93, and again, with our last pass rate, 100%, which is a testament to our ability to lead this program. Myself, upper administration of the Board of Regents at South Plains College fully support the ADN program and all the positive changes Dr. Strawn has made. We respectfully request not to be placed on conditional. Our concern is the negative impact it would have on our small rural healthcare facilities that depend on us to put out students. Thank you.
Thank you. I really want to
let you know that I appreciate your time and letting us tell our program story today. I also want to thank Dr. Donnelly and Dr. Hooper, who have been by my side, who I call all the time and drive them crazy. And I appreciate them always being willing to be there and answer all of my questions, because it's really important that I know the rules and I follow the rules. And when I have a question about the rules, they're my go-to people. They're who I call. So I wanted to thank them. I also want to thank Dean Finley, Dr. Satterwhite, our president, and Dr. Gibbs, our vice president, for being encouraging and supporting. And I definitely want to acknowledge our faculty, who have spent endless days and nights working as a team to help actually revive our program. They have made it their mission to bring back our premier status that we've always had previously. When I took over the program, as Dean Finley told you, it was an emergent situation, and our program was already in trouble. It was in serious trouble. Our pass rates were at 50%, and we had already had poor pass rate the year before. I can sit here and I can place blame, but I prefer to talk about how we've gone from cohorts passing from 50% to 100%. Even though the board only does look at the pass rates from January to December, like Dean Finley said, our ones in the May cohort had a 93.87% pass rate. Our ones from December had a 100% pass rate of 45 students. So let me provide a brief synopsis of all of the changes that our team has made. We have mapped all of our curriculum to the 2021 Texas DEX that had not been fully done previously. We took care of that. We also, when the 2023 test plan came out, we also took care of mapping that as well to make sure our curriculum was following these test plans and the DEX to the T. We are now making sure that all of our students are meeting required hours for didactic and for clinicals. We identified the BON rules as a team and started to identify what was going on wrong with our program. What exactly was the basis of our poor pass rates? We determined through data collection that we not only needed to be admitting qualified students, but we needed to change our entrance requirements. We increased our prerequisite GPA, and we now also only allow a C in one of their science prerequisites. That was through gathering of data through all of the students to see how they were doing in their med-surg course and if they passed on the first attempt or not. In that, we discovered that if they had 2 or more C's in their sciences, they were not being successful at a 60-40 split. 60% of them were either struggling to get through med-surg with maybe a barely that 77 they needed to pass our curriculum, or they weren't passing boards on that first time. That's why we made that change. We also determined that we needed a curriculum change. As students were struggling with med-surg and with pharmacology that we identified through our mountain measurement report. We have implemented now a standalone pharmacology course through our curriculum change. We identified that students also needed continued exposure to med-surg. The way our old curriculum was, the last med-surg course they received was in 3rd semester. If you had those students in med-surg in 3rd semester in spring, then they would sit out all summer, and then they would do their specialty rotations in OB and PD and leadership, and not having any type of med-surg experience in clinicals or in didactic. We changed that curriculum, not only adding that pharmacology course, but we also added a 3rd med-surg course. So now they have it in 2nd semester, 3rd semester, and 4th semester right before the NCLEX. We also identified that our online prep course that we had that was supposed to be helping them was really not being successful or of a benefit, because all the students were doing was trying to get it done. It is now considered a fully face-to-face course with a highly experienced faculty member who has 25 years of teaching experience, and they come every week face-to-face. And we stand by what we're doing because we're following the Senate bill. It is not high-stakes testing. We are not doing that at all. What we are doing is we do use ATI in this course. It's a capstone, but it doesn't count for more than 10% of their overall grade. They also use a UWorld, and they have to do laundry list, and they have participation and homework that they have to do in this course. And the students that have graduated said, man, that course was hard. Man, Miss Bucks Kemper stayed on me, but I passed on the first time, and I'm grateful. That is the feedback we are getting from this course now, and I'm proud to say that I feel that it is a part of our success. It has also been identified that we needed a new school motto, and that is one and done. And that is our motto that we have now and is getting put up on our wall, hopefully this summer. Because what we also found was students said, I'm just going to try the exam, see how it is, and then I'll go back and take it. We don't want them to have that mentality. We want them to identify one and done. You go and you take it that once and you get out. And we've been really stressing that. We have also implemented a formal retention program starting with our letters of success. This is given to each student that has a grade at 80% or below. They get it at week 4, they get it at week 8, and they get it at week 12. We chose 80% because we want to catch these students before they're failing. We don't want them to go over the edge. We want them to stay above that waterline mark. If we're catching them at failure, then we're already too late. So we want them to be successful. So now they know, they get a care plan basically, and with that care plan, they're sent to our retention specialist for academic coaching and test-taking strategies and time management strategies. They can also be sent to our student success coordinator, who has a master's in sociology. She's like a social worker for us, basically. She helps them with money. These kids may be living in their car and we don't know it. She helps them get out of their car. They may be hungry. She helps find them food. They may need glasses and can't see the board or see what they're doing in the skills lab. She helps find them glasses. So she does all of these things to help these students stay in the program. And then, of course, we may send them over to our mental health counselors that are on campus because, as you all know, nursing's stressful. They have life outside of nursing school, and most of these kids in this economy are having to work a lot of hours. We have single mamas with children, and their mental health is suffering. So we send them to the mental health counselors as well to help get them that much needed help that they need for someone to talk to. We've also implemented a formal faculty orientation. The faculty never really had what I would consider a formal orientation. They had orientation, but not to an extensive level. I've created faculty modules on our LMS system that all of them have, and they have a checklist. I've, of course, included the Board of Nursing faculty module on there as well, because that's an important part, because as we all know, we think we're great teachers at the bedside, but being a teacher at the bedside, as we know, is not the same as being a teacher in the classroom. This has been an excellent way to help our new educators learn how to be an educator because of this difficult transition. We also implemented a formal mentor-mentee program. I developed a handbook. It has conference worksheets, and it has evaluation tools. I assign a new faculty member to a seasoned faculty member, and I try and kind of match up their personalities after the first few weeks of them being there because I want to make sure it's a good match. And then they work with them on how do we get into Blackboard? How do we use ATI? All of those things. How do we work in the classroom? So we've had great results from that. As I've said, our December cohort speaks for itself at that 100% pass rate. As Dean Finley said, we needed the 6 students. We knew to hit that 80% because even though our May group was over 93%, I know that the group I took over from December of 22 weren't there. I had not had enough time after becoming full-time director to implement enough changes to help those kids. I feel bad for that. I wish I could have made it one and done for them, but I could not. So on December 18th, our students started receiving their ATTs, and as they were directed, they followed exactly what we told them. As soon as you get your ATT, you get online and you start scheduling your exams, because as we all know, the data shows that the sooner the tests, the better they do. They, used to think that, well, if I just do this, and they drag it out, but we know they're ready when they graduate. However, the students could not get a test date before the end of the year, and that's where our issues began. On December 18th, I started receiving emails. I was actually out of the country for my anniversary, and the students were frantically emailing me, telling me, I'm trying to test before the December 31st, and I can't find a testing date. It just keeps telling me, try another month. The closest testing center to Lubbock is 122 miles one way. That's our next closest testing center. I had students trying Amarillo, Midland, El Paso, Abilene, Dallas, San Antonio. They said they did not have any luck. I had one student that went to Oklahoma City, which is a 696-mile round trip. She tested on December the 28th. As y'all saw, I had submitted screenshots from the students that stated that from their Pearson VUE when they went online, it would say no seats are available, try another month. It does not direct the student to do anything else but to check another month. According to Pearson VUE, there were no seats there were never no seats at any time. But 3 days there were low availability, which they stated they added more seats. Pearson VUE does have the policy to offer a test 30 days within a 50-mile radius. The issue is that at no time did a student receive a message that said, try back, there could be available seats. Even on the website under why can I not find an available appointment, the response is 1, the test center chosen has no available appointment times or is not open. 2, the exam delivery dates are not available, check another month. 3, the exam authorization window is not applicable for the month being searched, check another month. We teach the students to follow instructions to the letter so they learn to follow doctor's orders. They at no point on Pearson VUE website were told to keep checking back to see if seats have been added or have become available. Just check another month. NCSBN reached out to Pearson VUE when I brought this concern up, and they had sent back regarding El Paso, no alerts for December, meaning there was always availability in this market. 2, San Antonio, no alerts for December, meaning there was always availability. 3, Lubbock alerts, 12/18, 12/22, 12/23, meaning the team was alerted, and there was low availability in each time they added seats. At no time was there no availability. It does indicate capacity was being consumed quickly. Midland, alerts on 12/10, 12/12, 12/23, meaning the team was alerted and that there was low availability in each time they added seats. At no time was there no availability. Again, it does indicate capacity was being consumed. That's the statement I received. We did have one student that was able to test, like I said, on that 12/28, going almost 700 miles. We ended up having the 11 students who tried to find testing dates but could not. Why would a student drive all the way to Oklahoma City, 700 miles round trip, if there was availability in her own town? That's the question I'm here to ask. Why would a student do that, if being the cost, the time? We point this out because students, if they had been available to test before the 31st as desired and as we encouraged them to, there would have been a possibility of our program not being put on conditional status, especially since we had a 100% pass rate. I know the rule says that we may be placed on conditional status, not will be placed on conditional status. And I'm respectfully asking that all these factors be considered in this unique situation, as all these 45 students from December did pass, and it would change our pass rate. My understanding is that this hearing is to listen to why we are in this situation today and what our action plan is to improve our program and meet the 80% passing threshold. According to the information I have gathered during conditional status, it gives us that time to implement the action plan that we've developed to help resurrect our program. Our situation is a bit different, I feel. When I took over, I did not wait for the ceiling to fall out. I was proactive. I worked with administration and faculty to identify early what the issues were, and I started changes in implementation immediately as we were sinking quickly. We were on the Titanic, broken in half, sinking in cold waters, and we did not get on the lifeboats, but determined how to raise our ship because our community needs our program. It needs our nurses. I ask if the purpose of conditional status is to give a program the time it needs to implement the plan of action. What else can we do? We have already proven the last 2 cohorts have passed at 93.87 and 100% that our plan of action is appropriate and does work. If we're put on conditional status and you do not allow us to take a January cohort, then what is the point of conditional status, as we've already made all of the changes and have already completed all implementation? I ask that you consider, as the rule states, that you may place us on conditional status, not we will be placed on conditional status. If you only look at the pass rates and nothing else, then why not write the rule as will and not as may? My guess is because sometimes you must look at a program as a whole and not just look at just the pass rate. I ask that you look at us in totality and not just surface deep, and that there are many layers to our situation. I am respectfully asking you to consider leaving us on warning and allow us to continue to prove that this plan of action is appropriate and that we will continue to be successful, as nothing would be gained from putting us on conditional except to not get nurses into our community. I thank you for your time.
Dr. Hooper, were you going to say anything?
No, I'm fine. Thank you. So I appreciate the detail and your kindness in bringing this to our attention. I do want the board members to know that you do have students presently enrolled, so that this is not blocking you, it's not killing you to go unconditional. But the thing they're requesting is that they are not blocked from taking more admissions this year. So that's the question. You've done remarkable things in bringing this around. I'm amazed. I've been taking notes because I want to tell other programs, here's what you can do. So thank you for that. So does the board have questions for our
I have a
guests?
question, Madam President. I guess I missed the part of how we're going to resolve the issue with the testing availability.
We did contact NCSBN immediately when we heard there was a problem, and they told me that they checked all those sites and there were availability. So I don't know where the disjoint is. They also sent us a copy of what they normally give to people who are searching, and it does say contact them, and I'm sure that they did, right? You, okay. Okay.
And that's what the students did.
And that was the test site itself. Did they contact Pearson View?
They got
You know,
online and contacted them.
through
So it's
online?
another month, and that was what I sent.
So historically, has this occurred in your school?
Not that I'm aware of. I know that I had 2 students that were able to successfully test. I'm sorry. I had 2 students that were able to successfully test that graduated from the December 22 cohort, and they were able to test before December 31st. They did not have any problems. But these students, none of them could get a test site in Lubbock whatsoever or the surrounding communities. And like I said, the one had to go all the way to Oklahoma City to test before December 31st. But Pearson View's response is that on that 28th, there was never no seat available, but she had to go all the way to Oklahoma City. And I had 2 students competing for the site in Oklahoma City, and when the second one tried to go back to schedule it, the other one had already scheduled.
And do you know, I'm sorry, this is Kathy Lederhorn, were they just closed on Monday for Christmas? Because it looks like it's the perfect storm because Christmas was a Monday. Were they closed also on the 26th?
No, they tried to test anyway. Like if y'all read their email statements, which was provided just to y'all for confidentiality reasons.
Yes.
The students said, I got right online as soon as I got my ATT and my email. Some of them even provide the exact time they got on, and there was no testing sites available whatsoever in the month of December when they received their ATT.
Irregardless of closed for the holidays.
Correct.
So one thing I just wanted to clarify. So you said, so if the students had called back, they were telling them, well, yes, we added they added spots.
I'm not sure
Students, if they had called back, they could have gotten those spots. I mean, because they keep saying they added.
Yeah, I think there was two issues. One, you couldn't talk to a human being there. I think it was just voicemail or mailbox is full. The second was when they tried to check a time of any date in December, it said there are no times available in the current date range. Consider searching for appointments in a different month or select a different test center. So that's where the students start panicking, going, okay, I need to get this test taken. There's nothing available in Lubbock, nothing available in Amarillo, so they start broadening that net. And, I mean, we had one student that found a site in Colorado Springs, which would have been great, but they work and didn't want to drive that way and didn't have the money. But I think you're right, I think it was a perfect storm of, we had a lot of students trying to take that test quickly because we had literally just pounded that into them. And when they get on there and try, they're told check back another month. So, you know, the student brain is, I'm going to check back in January.
I'd like to mention also that Dr. Strawn did state this in her remarks, that when a student got on to the testing site, the three things that they were told were the testing center chosen has no available appointment times or is not open. Select a different testing center. The exam delivery dates are not available. Check another month. And then the exam authorization window is not applicable for the month being searched. Check another month. So, you know, with students getting that information,
that's what they're going to do.
Did we have any other concerns from any other schools?
So, Tara, could you tell us how many students you currently have in the program and when they will graduate?
I have 41, sorry, I didn't know I was going to need numbers right off the top of my head. 41 students that should graduate or 40 students that should graduate in May. And then I should have about 36 that should graduate in December.
Okay, and those ones in December may get caught in the same kind of storm. So
right.
But you have 41, and then the number that have tested for the 100% was how many?
45.
45.
45 out of 40.
I mean, if you say January until...
If you say January, 44. But I had 45 that graduated from the December cohort. The one went to Oklahoma City and passed in December 29th, and then the other 44 tested and passed.
All of them passed?
Every one of them. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, do you have any students outstanding that have never tested that are going to show
No,
up?
ma'am. I went all the way back to 2019 to check for any outliers. I did not see any.
So you already have a 44 with 100% this year. I'm just thinking you're still going to have a pass rate for 2024 regardless of
Correct.
how this goes. And then you have 41 who will graduate
about
at
that,
a point
yes.
that they will also be able to test without hiccups.
Right.
Hopefully.
Yes.
We knew what we needed to do in December. I mean, we had crunched the numbers. We knew exactly how many students needed to pass in December for us to hit 80%, and that was 6. But we had 11 that tried to do that. So we went into this knowing well ahead of time what needed to happen in December for us not to be sitting before you today. So the challenge was we had those students that tried. This was a response they got from Pearson, and that's why we're here today. But I will say for Dr. Strawn and her faculty, it is obvious the things they have put into place are working.
Good morning, Dr. Strawn and Dean Finley.
Good morning.
Ken Johnson. I represent LVN Education. I just had a couple of questions, some thoughts that had crossed my mind as I'm looking at some of these numbers here. When were these students able to take the test? Because I didn't see that in the packet. I saw that they couldn't find their test. I saw what you had submitted, but when did they actually get to take the test? Because I know that you said you wanted it within 30 days. to maximize?
Okay, so just to answer that question, they received their ATTs. That was what was on the emails in your
Right,
packet.
December 18th.
And they received them on December 18th. They can go on and schedule, and some of them were trying to schedule even the next day. They were trying to schedule even on the 19th.
Sure,
They
but
were trying to get it done before December 25th.
Sure, but even then, trying to get it done before December, when were they actually able to take the exam?
They did not, the first ones were not able to take the exam until January 4th.
Okay.
That was the first time that they were able to schedule. I had a slew of them that took on January 4th and January 10th.
Okay. And my other question is, I'm looking at the size here, and this really isn't necessarily for you because you came in afterwards. But I'm looking at the cohorts, and you knew, or I guess this is for Dean Finley. We knew that we had a problem in 2021 with the 64.29% pass rate. Why is the 2023 graduating cohort so large if we knew that there was a problem?
They were already in the program.
Okay.
They had already started, so we didn't start decreasing that enrollment when we recognized that. Then we started ticking down enrollment. Those students were already in the program when we hit that point.
Okay.
But that is one of the things that Dr. Straw did when she came in immediately. She cut enrollment because she needed to get back on track. So that is one of the first things we did was decrease incoming. Oh, sorry. Not used to that. We did decrease enrollment when we had that first low, so the incoming student population was decreased.
Okay. And these students, before they graduate, are you guys also doing like an overall review, like say like Hearst review or?
So they do the ATI live review.
Okay.
Yes, that started fall of 23. We had a review in spring of 23 as well, but we switched it over to the ATI live review because we felt like that was a better review for them.
Okay.
And it went along with their ATI capstone.
Okay.
So I have a question, Kathy Ship. So your scores weren't good. I don't have it in front of me. I'm just assuming December of 22 to January of 23, or you wouldn't be at 79. I mean, so you didn't do that review in December of 22 for that group?
Right. I did not. I took over in
Started, and you were full-time in October.
Full-time October of 22. So we had a different type of review that came in. It was the Hearst review, and they came in, and that's what they did. It was the December 22 graduates that, like I said in my pre-brief, it was not. They were not as successful, and I feel bad about that, but I hadn't had enough time to implement the changes. The May cohort in 23 had the 93.87% pass rate, 46 out of 49 passed.
So those December graduated, some tested, some not, or
Only
whatever.
2 tested in December of 22, and then the rest that graduated
passed?
December, they tested in like January, February.
Did those 2 pass?
Those 2 that graduated in December of 22 and tested in December 22 passed, which went on the pass rate for 22 instead of 23.
But not all of the January 23 passed.
Correct.
Which can contribute to.
Because that was still part of before me and not enough time to change.
One more question. The math questions. So when you have your graduating class in May, how soon do you think they will take the exam?
If they do like we've told them to do, they're going to take it as soon as they get their ATT and can skip.
And so you might know your 2024 pass rate late summer.
But I'll have another class that graduates in December of 24, so if any of them get to pass or get to take boards, then I have to wait on them as well.
Madam President, I have a comment.
Yes, sir.
You know, Doctor, and first of all, I just want to, reading through this packet and seeing what you have accomplished in such a short time frame, I want to commend, the effort and the work that you've put into this. I also want to acknowledge the passion that is clear you all have for your program. It seems like you had a very unfortunate window of time come December, and it appears you might have that coming again. But, hands down, the work you have done is just absolutely to be admired and commended.
I appreciate you saying that, and I just want you to know it was a team effort. Every single faculty and staff and administration got their hands dirty and rolled up their sleeves and worked hard.
Madam President, Kathy Lederhorn, I just have a quick, have we seen this, Dr. Hooper? Have we seen this? I understand that it's because of the rural, I can't say the word, the rural setting at South Plains College, but have we seen that with this December ATT?
Can't say we've heard of something like that.
And Madam President,
I wanted to just say one thing. So we changed how we did our months, and it still would have happened the same way when we did September 1st to the end of August. I mean, the deadline is the deadline. And so when people graduate in August, they couldn't get into that year either. I mean, so it's now January 1st to December 31st, and then it was that other, but there've always been those stragglers. Not May graduates are never a problem, but August graduates, December graduates are still at that year end. So
yeah, Ms. Lederhorn, to kind of answer that, I'm not sure we ever hear about those issues because we were kind of in the spot where we were really, really paying attention to every single student that got on there. So I'm not sure globally if a student or a small group of students has that issue, that it's going to be an issue.
Right.
So.
Well, and it seems to me, I mean, and this is just me talking out loud since everything's mic'd, but I understand the rule is the rule. I'm pretty much a line in the sand kind of a gal. However, I appreciate that what I see, and it's time-stamped, I would take that as the gospel in my line of work. It's time-stamped email. These students have tried. It's pounded into their mind. I appreciate the fact that some of this goes to Pearson View, and I think that is a reality. I, for one, would be willing to have them remain on the status that they are.
Thank you.
Just to throw it out there, which something like this happens, which year did they get to count? Who gets to count the year that they tested? The one that they just finished, and that circumstances provide this delay, or the year that they actually test in? That
So
who chooses that?
This is the person responsible for NCLEX. We're going to stick with that 1 year. I mean, what we're asking is there any way we can stay within our rule and not put them on that conditional? What can we do to make it work? That's my position. But I think we're not ever going to change the way we do the whole.
No,
and I don't want to change
it's the perfect
rule.
storm. It's not. And if had you guys not been on this edge of conditional, okay, you guys wait till January 4th, you'll be fine. That sort of thing. So that's why I'm saying it's the perfect storm. It's the testing. It's the December. It's Christmas. That's already 1 day. You guys have 8 days to put all those kids.
But so
in.
did every other school.
right. And
Absolutely.
if I might, I think everyone's aware of this, but I want to make sure for your decision making, the expectation in the policy for scheduling is 30 days.
Gotcha.
And so,
And they did that.
yes.
Yeah, and we're not questioning Pearson not meeting their obligation.
Correct.
Absolutely not.
No.
We had the perfect storm, and we needed those 6 students to get in there and take it, and they tried, and there just wasn't anything in that time frame.
And I'm not of the belief that this, and you guys help me with this. I don't want to set a precedence, but at the same time, I think there's exceptions. So you guys help me with that. What are y'all's thoughts?
At the same time, we need to grow the workforce. And I think y'all have demonstrated a really good plan and have implemented some actions that have shown that you can do that and that you're committed to doing that.
And this program has had constant contact with the board and Dr. Hooper and everybody else. So
They're probably tired of me.
I have one comment. I applaud you on Carol Hawkins Garcia, representing RN practice. I applaud you for what you've done, again, like my peers say in such a short notice. But one thing that I've taught prior to taking this position, one thing that we did, because we didn't want to run into that Christmas, people taking break in Pearson View, not having at a couple of the colleges where I taught the nursing program, we made sure we were done with finals, made sure that we got all our clinicals in. We were done before the Thanksgiving break. So that way it gave time for the 10 days to go do your jurisprudence, to get your ATT. So by December 1, they're already looking for sites.
Yeah,
and because of where we were, they would have had to travel possibly from the south to Dallas to wherever. So we kind of moved our stuff around so that they could complete the requirements, so that they could be done by no later than the Thanksgiving break, because of the holidays and the way that it may fall.
I would love to talk to you offline about how you made that happen. Because we literally had that very conversation of trying to figure out how we can squeeze all that in before Thanksgiving. So we need to talk.
It included doing some Saturday clinicals and stuff to get those requirements in, but we did what we did so we wouldn't run into that Christmas problem, so that we could get those scores in by the end of the year.
Well, and I appreciate that, but as I stated in my brief, I've tried to follow our rules and tried to follow the hours required, and within the way our college is set up at this time, we finished on the 11th, and those students graduated on the 12th. So it was but we followed how many contact hours we had to have for the students to the T.
This is Rick Williams. Just one final comment from my perspective. Again, as I have commended you for all of the work that you all have put forward in bringing this program back online, and recognizing the unfortunate situation that you find yourself in, a predicament, we still have to remember that we are here because there was a problem that led us to here. And when we take into consideration, I would think, on what we should do, we have to remember that we have to look at it from the 5,000-foot level. While I would think that because of the effort and work that you've put in, maybe some flexibility, if possible, should be allotted. But at the same token, we have to remember we got here because there was a problem. You've made very valiant efforts in solving that problem, but we also have to go back to the starting block and remember how we got to this position. Thank you.
Throw one more thing in. Strong did appeal that they not be placed on conditional, but stay on the warning status. That's another. Not representing that personally.
Board members, I think the questions come up about precedent setting, right? You make an exception. Is that exception going to be become the rule? That's the question of precedent setting here. No one doubts that this is an awful scenario. But the rule is set a calendar year, and within that calendar year, I mean, looking at this particular calendar year, more than 20% of the people that did test for the first time in that year didn't pass. The third year in a row on that, and now you have these circumstances that are everyone agrees is terrible, and then add to that everyone who graduates a cohort in December, it's a known terrible situation. That's so is this situation with all the equitable appeals the type that deserves the exception, and is that exception going to be the rule because someone else is going to be in the same situation, or they're going to, for me and for what we do and our evaluation of things, you don't want precedent to be used as a sword where people sort of almost manipulate their activities, not here, but in the future. But these are, you asked me what, it's an exception. We, as staff, know the facts here. And if someone wants to come in the future and say our facts are very similar to South Plains, then we can look at that, and y'all can look at that.
Madam.
But the idea that when you make an exception, will it become the rule?
Madam President, I agree, but and I was the one that brought up the precedents, then the language of the rule needs to change. It needs to not say may, because when I read may, I don't rubber stamp. If somebody comes and says, well, we did blah, blah, blah for South Plains, I mean, I've pored over this, and I'm not even an educator, but I pored over this. So my stance isn't going to change, because I think if that's the case, if that's what we're worried about, then we need to change the rule language and just say it's not may. That will happen. End of discussion. So I don't know if that's what. I'm not an educator, so I could be speaking out of turn. So y'all tell me.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
I mean, 'cause
With the may versus will argument, I would disagree that it needs to be changed. May indicates that it gives the presenters an opportunity to come and make their case.
Right.
The onus is still on us to make that decision about, is this an actual case? There is the potential to set a precedence here, because everybody's got a December test case, and everybody's going to come in, oh, my people didn't pass because we couldn't get a site in Dallas. Wait a minute, in Dallas? Yeah, it was Pilsen View's fault. Can we pass? So I am not saying that, again, I commend the work that you all have done. This is awesome. And if more programs could do what you've done in such a short time, with such passion, it would be great. But I think that the may is what has you here. And we obviously we're struggling with this because we're still having debate about, should we make this exception? For me, that bar has to be very high, and I still have to go back to the reason you got into this situation was you had a program that was struggling. While you've done everything right to get your program out of this, I don't know whether it's time to bend the rule, and say, okay, just one time, but your work is awesome and it's outstanding, and I want to see you be successful, going forward, because you're on the right track. But I don't know, looking down the road, if I would be comfortable in saying right here, right now, yeah, this is the time we're going to not follow the rule when it's the rules that we are supposed to be enforcing, that we have agreed need to have that exceptionally high jumper to clear. Thank you.
When I came on the board, I didn't know I would need a lawyer at every to sit right beside me all the time. Many of us have been educators. I'm in practice now, but my heart is as an educator. I taught at South Plains College in the first faculty. So that doesn't have anything to do with my decision here. I'm just saying I'm an educator. We have several people who have been educators. We have consumers who are very worldly and have been patients of educators. So I think that's why the governor's so wise in who he gives to be on these boards. I think this is difficult. We are supposed to protect students. They're our public. They're the consumers, and they've worked hard to do this. We're also supposed to train our educators to be the best, and that's why we have the decks that our state does, and everybody uses those decks with us. So I am going to make a motion, and usually I don't make the motions, but I'm going to make a motion, and we will see how the board chooses to vote on that. We do not like to set a precedence. That is not what we do. We do not like to do that. We have rules and regs, and we're very black and white. We also look at reality. So I am going to make a motion, and if I don't get a second, then we will have another motion. And that is how we do our rules. And we'll keep making motions until we have one that passes. For our lawyer. Our other lawyer over there? Okay. So I'm going to move that South Plains College Associate Degree Nursing Education Program in Levelland stay on warning, approval with warning, and based on the review of the situation, the student scores, and those scores being 100% for this group that graduated in December with extenuating testing circumstances. Do I have a second?
I'll second. Kathy Lederhorn, second.
Yes.
Yeah, I need that to do that.
The motion is that they remain on warning,
Full approval with warning.
presentation, and circumstances, presented circumstances. The board docs can y'all hear me? Board Docs is the software that helps manage the decision-making, recording of the events, and there's not only do they verbally vote, which could lead the decision, they also have a manual opportunity to say yay or nay in the computer system, in the software. And we y'all might have heard that was alluded to earlier that these are kind of happening. The choices are on the motion put before each board member on their laptops, as well as their affirmation or statement when they're called to vote. Ms. Fianas Cabrera has control over putting the motion in, and if it varies from a usual motion, there's a delay in putting that information into the system.
I'm assuming there's not a screen. There used to be.
Well, he said that we'll be able to.
Okay, it's going to be stated to stay on full approval with warning based on discussion and circumstances discussed at the meeting. Here we go. Remain on full with warning considering circumstances present important. Okay. Okay. Kathy Boswell.
Kathy Boswell, and I'm going to vote against that motion.
Laura Disk.
Laura Disk, 4.
Carol Hawkins Garcia.
Carol Hawkins Garcia, against.
Maisie Jamison.
Maisie Jamison, 4.
Ken Johnson.
Ken Johnson, 4.
Kathy Lederhorn.
Kathy Lederhorn, 4.
Melissa Scott.
Melissa Scott, 4.
Kathy Ship, 4. Rick Williams.
Rick Williams, against.
So the motion carries. We have 3 noes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, because we have 9. Motion carries.
I just want to thank each and every one of you. Thank y'all very, very much.
Well, we expect you to continue on and having those positive outcomes.
We won't let you down.
Staff, for your work.
Thank you.
Okay, we are off schedule. At this time, we have to break for lunch. Oh, we have an 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
And we have to have a break.
Let's just power through.
Power through?
Let's just, it won't take long.
Okay. Okay. At this time, we'll go to 3.2.16, which is consideration of change in approval status from conditional approval to full approval. I can't even talk. Kilgore College and Kilgore Vocational Nursing Education Program. Is Dr. Hooper doing that?
Yes.
It's 3.2.16. And Jennifer, did you fill out a form for being here? There was a form at the desk. Okay.
I'll go get it, Dr.
We'll get
Hooper.
one of those.
I'll get it. Okay. Yeah.
It's time.
Hello. Good morning.
Morning. Is it morning? Yes.
Okay, Dr. Hooper, are you going to speak first? Okay.
Shall I go ahead?
Yes.
This is Jennifer Bray. She's here from Kilgore College. And I need to give you a little bit of historical background on this one. I'm sure you've read it. Kilgore College in Kilgore has 2 programs. They have an ADN and a VM program. And Ms. Bray has been serving as program director since 2022. So some of this history precedes her tenure. In April 23, she was here before you, and the program was changed from full with warning to conditional based on a 3rd consecutive pass rate below 80%. Dr. Benton and I made a visit to Kilgore, and then a report followed that. In a previous year, the VN program realized they were having difficulty, and they decided to revise the curriculum. And at that point, they paused the enrollment and didn't take any new admissions into that program. So when the 2023 pass rate came up, there was no data. So you'll notice when you're looking at the pass rate results that Kilgore's VM program has no data, so we couldn't really do anything at that point. Now, when they paused the curriculum, there were a few students still in the program. They were students that were trailing along, and they stayed in the program, and they had the benefit of being under the new curriculum. So there were 4 of them who graduated, and they took the exam this year in 2024. We're not saying this is 2023 data. And their pass rate was 100% for those. And we feel like that was showing the effect of the new curriculum and the new leadership in the program. So board staff is making a recommendation that for the 2024 pass rate of 100%, the program will be removed from conditional and placed on full approval. They have had to cease all program involvement since this went on. And I know Dr. Bray is one of those other brave souls who has stood it out and made a lot of attempts to improve the program. So that's the story. And I'm going to let her say a few words. She's very nervous, and I'm right here beside her. So, and then you can ask questions.
Thank you for allowing me to come today. I am nervous just because I feel like I've been here multiple times over the past 2 years. A journey just like the previous college. So just some clarification. When I started with Kilgore College in June of 22, there was not an existent VN program. Their last graduating class was December of 2021. At the time of my assuming the director role, the ADN and VN program were on a pathway that merged the two programs together, if you will. It was a MEP. So the idea was that the VN students, should they elect, they could step or opt out at the third level, take their exam and finish, or they could continue on in the RM program. At the time of my assuming the role of director, the VM program was on warning, and the ADN program was also on warning. So we had lots to do in a short period of time. And so with that being said, the VN program, we did not have graduates in 22. I take that back. There were stragglers, so then that dropped our pass rate. I came here last year at this exact time, requested very similar to not be placed on conditions, and we were placed on conditions. At that time, we had we were not able to enroll anymore. So we had admitted we restarted the program in January of 23. We admitted 13 students, and we graduated 4. That hopefully, I understand, has a very high attrition rate. However, I hope that it displays the rigor of the program of instilling that we have implemented a new curriculum and have put in guidelines and criteria to ensure the success of our students as well as the welfare of our community. With that being said, we are here today differently because I don't have any 2023 data. However, I don't have any graduates that will be coming in 2024. So I'm here today to ask for the exception to the rule as to I'm asking for coming off of conditions and full approval for the 2024. We do have applicants. I've been in contact with Dr. Benton and Dr. Hooper and Dr. Ayers quite frequently. We have applicants ready. They have met our admission criteria, and they are contingent based upon the decision today.
I did want to make it clear that this pass rate of 100% is the last pass rate for 2024. This is it. And the program's kind of in limbo right now, and we feel like they're ready to go back to full approval. Ms. Bray has been a good leader, and I have to say, she hasn't said this, but she's recently promoted to an upper position. So I think they recognize the good leadership. Now, do you have questions for her?
Good morning, Ms. Bray. I'm Ken Johnson. I represent LVN Education. I just wanted to take a moment to congratulate you on these scores. That's no small feat, even if it is a small cohort. Take it 100%.
It's very high stakes.
I think the stakes are even higher.
Yep.
I would say. So I want to congratulate you on that.
Thank you.
How many applicants? Should you get full approval again, how many applicants will you accept?
25.
25 students?
Yes, sir.
Of those 25, how many are going to be returning those 13? Some of those students are going to be returning to that 25?
0.
None?
No.
Okay.
I will also say that our pass rate for 2023 is also a 100% pass rate.
Wow.
Had to get that in there.
I had to. It's a lot of work, Dusty.
So, Dr. Hooper, they're thinking about 25. In looking at everything, what do you think?
I think that's appropriate. if you don't have a decent number, it's very hard to carry on a good education. And Dr. Benton and I have been there. It's a lovely campus. They're fully staffed and fully resourced that they should be able to carry this out.
Any other questions or comments or anything from our educators or?
Again, I want to congratulate you. It's an amazing
Great job.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Madam President, this is Ken Johnson. I move to change the approval status for the Kilgore College Vocational Nursing Education Program in Kilgore, Texas, from conditional approval to full approval based upon their full compliance with Rule 214 and upon the final NCLEX PN examination pass rate of 100% for the 2024 students with no possibility of other graduates to test during 2024, as indicated in the attached letter and board order.
Rick Williams, I second.
Thank you. Having a motion and a second, we'll now take a vote. Kathy Boswell,
Kathy Boswell, 4.
Laura Disk,
Laura Dis, 4.
Carol Hawkins Garcia,
Carol Hawkins Garcia, 4.
Maisie Jamison,
Maisie Jamison, 4.
Johnson,
Ken Johnson, 4.
Kathy Lederhorn,
Kathy Lederhorn, 4.
Melissa Scott,
Melissa Scott, 4.
Kathy Ship, 4. Rick Williams,
Rick Williams, 4.
and motion passes. Unanimous. Okay, congratulations.
We need to get
Okay. Okay, I think we'll go ahead and break for lunch now because we have to go 2 buildings over. And then we can come back and now 12:15. 12:15. Think we can get back by 12:15. Going over, you know, that line. It's crazy. Okay, so I need to read something. For any online observers, please note the meeting will go offline for a break and a reset on the link to the meeting. A new link will be posted on the BON website. All online observers will need to go to the new link in order to continue observing today's meeting. This reset is to allow and enable closed captioning for online observers. And so it is 11:14 and we'll come back at 12:15.